Today I am taking you to Topkapi Palace. It is now a museum here in Istanbul, Turkey, and right off the bat, this had to be the most expensive museum entry I've ever paid. It was $30 for a tourist. If you're a Turkish citizen, it's a lot cheaper. I think it was like $12 for Turkish citizens. What we see here is the main courtyard. There are several courtyards, and all of them have a different name, and it's surrounded by different buildings, and each building has its own name. You can Google all of that information if that's what you're interested in. I'm not interested in names because I know I'm not gonna remember. I just wanted to see it. And I was slightly disappointed because I was expecting to see how the Sultan and his family and people who worked there, how they lived. There's not many or any decorations showing us what life here was like, but there is so many beautiful details that must see. Here we see two statues. This and I think two other statues are pretty much the only ones that show what they dress like, how they look like, what they were doing. But anyways, so the Topkapi was opened in 1460 and had many renovations since. But after the 17th century, it kind of lost its importance because the sultans preferred to live in their other palaces. For what reason, I don't know. I mean, who would not want to live here? Although it is very big. So if you come here, I suggest to come in comfy walking shoes because there's a lot to walk and see. And there's also a restaurant, but it's so overpriced and it's not super great. Not good at all. But you can grab a quick bite if you're starving, but I recommend to eat before you come here. The Ottoman Empire sultans lived here for about 400 years, but in 1923, the government decided to transform Topkapi into a museum on April 3rd, 1924. Exactly. This is the very, very first museum of the Turkish Republic. In this room, you can see a man reading, and there's some books, so it had to be a library. Outside of it, it says what this room was used for. Oh, there's a cat. It's a royal cat. Do not touch. That's why it's behind the red line. It is a beautiful place. It's so relaxing. If it wasn't a palace and a historical place, I would think this would be a perfect spot for a resort. Just come, relax, and forget about all of your worries. I also did a video on the harem, his wives. For that, I'm going to do a separate video because it was long and I don't want to make this one video extremely long. So I'm going to do the harem completely separately. It was a crazy experience. Harem only opened to the public in 2014. So if you came to Istanbul and you've been here before 2014, you probably did not see the harem. At the end of this video, I'm going to show you the kitchen, but I did not get a lot of footage of the kitchen because not all the rooms are open to public. So I'm going to tell you a few interesting facts about the kitchen. In 1574, a great fire destroyed the kitchen, but they restored it and even added 20 wide chimneys and then expanded some of the rooms and expanded the harem and the private chambers. The kitchen was massive. And by the 18th century, the palace collected over 16,000 pieces of Chinese porcelain. Every single day, food was prepared for about 4,000 people, and the kitchen staff consisted of more than 800 people. They had their own dorms, they had their own bathrooms, and even their own mosque just for the employees, so that the Sultan and his family or guests are separated from the employees. But overall, there was about 5,000 staff at the palace. And days of religious holidays and celebration, that number could reach 15,000 staff, which is a lot. And even those 15,000 people, they have to eat. And someone has to cook for them as well. So imagine all the food that went through here. I wonder how their piping system is, because a lot of people means a lot of, garbage stuff coming out. A lot of people eat, a lot of stuff come out. Here's a beautiful pond. It's like a little private pond. The views are amazing. The gardens are super beautiful. But I would think they should have more flowers, I think. Look at that view. I'm pretty sure during that era, there were no buildings like this. So it was all land or village. So everything is so beautiful. So many details to look at. But I want to see, what were they doing here on the couch? Like, what was this couch used for? What was on the shelves? There are shelves. Were there books? Were there decorations? Yeah, I just wanted to see what was this used for? Were they just like hanging out, smoking hookah? Oh, actually, one thing I did not see is where they ate. The dining room. There was no dining room, so I'm assuming they just ate on the carpet, one of the carpets, like one of the bigger ones. Again, another couch. What were they doing here? Also, I noticed that it looks a little bit too clean. Like, not very old. You know what I mean? Like, it did not age. Look at this throne. Absolutely beautiful. So many details in it. There's some stones in there too, but it's probably cold. I'm sure they put some pillow on it, but that is not a comfortable chair for sure. If you come to Istanbul and decide to visit Topkapi, I would suggest to plan to be here at least for half of the day, because it is big and you want to see everything for that $30. That's $30 per person. Look at all the details. I was so caught up with how much there is to see. I totally forgot to take any pictures of myself and like make some memory for me. But maybe one day I'll go back. Also, I've noticed there's not a lot of painting compared to castles in Europe. If you visit any castle in Europe, you will see a lot of painting. Here there's something on up there, but not a whole lot. It looks like the Sultan focused more on decorating the walls with mosaics and gold. I don't actually know if that's real gold. It's probably gold plated for sure. I got lost. I totally got lost. Somewhere between here, went to the harem, and then I was trying to find the kitchen. It is very easy to get lost, but also not every room is open to the public, like you can see in the courtyard. This is called the stone courtyard or something like that. As you can see, that part is not walkable for tourists, which is totally fine. But again, everything looks very well taken care of and clean. But they are doing renovations, as you can see right in front of you, right here. So, there's another man. Yeah, this was after the harem. And then we are here in the kitchen. So this is one of the kitchens. If there are 800 people working here, the kitchen is so much bigger. And I'm also going to show you a little bit of the porcelain collection we could see. But just imagine how much food you need to cook to feed 4,000 people every single day. And they did not just have like one plate a meal. They had a feast every day. That's another thing I would like to see, like what they ate. Maybe have some plastic, realistic food examples. What were they eating? I don't know what they were eating. There were probably fruits, meat, obviously, a Turkish food, but I really want to see like what was the menu. You know? It's nice to look at, but it does feel like a museum. These are teapots for chai. Now imagine 4,000 people plus 5,000 staff, all of them drinking chai, the Turkish tea. So you're gonna need a lot more teapots than just these. These were probably only for the Sultan and his family and his wives. These look a little Roman. A little mix in there. But yeah, those were for wine. These are some of the porcelain collections Topkapi has. These are silver and gold. They're very beautiful. Like they ate out of this. Beautiful. One day there was food in there, and someone ate from it. I'm not really sure what this brush is used for, but look how gorgeous that silverware is. So beautiful, and so many details to it. It's not just basic fork knife. It's very beautiful. These are all hand painted. It looks very modern too. Like if you go into Macy's or Nordstrom, you're gonna find similar items. Obviously, not the quality is not gonna be this fancy, probably, because this is for royal people, not just Macy's, but it looks very modern compared to the fact that the sultans were here a long time ago. And this is a kitchen courtyard. As you can see, it's not as nice looking as the sultan's courtyards. On my way out, I found the Saint Irene Church. It is an Eastern Orthodox church located out the outside part of the courtyard at Topkapi, and it is the oldest known church in Istanbul. It was used as an arsenal for storing weapons until 1824, as Turkish people are not Christian, they're Muslims, so they did not use this church for prayers or for anything, so they just stored weapons there. But in 1846 it was made into a military antiques museum until 1978, when it was turned over to the Turkish Ministry of Culture. And you're not gonna believe it what they are using it now. I'll tell you just in a second. I want you to pay attention to how much detail is in here. Bricks, and the ceiling is so high. I think it should be about like 22 feet high, maybe more. It's beautiful. I don't think there's any heating here, so in the winter it's probably very, very cold. That's why Turkish use a lot of fur coats, which is very popular here in Turkey. Coming over here, can you guess what this church is used for today? It's used as a concert hall for classical musical. So that was it for this video of Topkapi. The next one is gonna be the Sultan's harem, or should I say slaves?